The House Problem Solvers Caucus and a bipartisan group of senators have proposed a framework for a $908 billion relief package during the lame duck session of Congress. We caught up with the co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus, Congressman Tom Reed, and discussed the status of the proposal. The Republicans gained seats in the House this session. I know you're focused on this package now, but looking forward, is what's happening with this package a sign that more moderate members could have more influence than this Congress on fiscal issues and budgets?
So I shy away from the term moderate, but I will tell you, the pragmatic members is how I would label us. And what I mean by that is the ones that are common sense. And we got, in the Problem Solvers Caucus, we got some of the most right, the most left members that are part of it, but the commonality is they're pragmatic, they're common sense driven members. And so I think what you're going to see in the next Congress with the tight majorities is that those members are going to rise to the top, and they're going to be in a position to influence the agenda greatly, because they'll be in a position, because it's a 5-seat delta with the majority minority, to either block legislation, but most importantly, not only block legislation, but also to potentially be the lubricant to get to yes. And so that's something I think we are positioned very well to take advantage of.
And when you look at this framework, this $908 billion package, how do you respond to members who want direct payments put into this package now that's going to be possibly passed before the end of the year? Do you want to see direct payments added into it?
So, obviously, when you're dealing with compromise, when you're dealing with things that you may or may not want in a package, you just have to go through what can you get. And, direct payments were discussed. They were in prior packages, but they weren't in this package because just consensus couldn't be reached at this point in time, given where folks were at. And so that being the case, you take what you can, and $908 billion without the direct payments is where the 80%, 75% consensus was. And so you have to move on. And if folks, to me, the direct payments was not as much of a priority as was the Paycheck Protection Program, the unemployment benefits, the other assistance buckets that were in there when it comes to things like housing and the food security issues and things like that, so that they all dovetail with each other to provide that assistance that the direct dollars would have otherwise taken care of.
And the HEROES Act, the first one, and then the updated one had direct payments in there for undocumented immigrants who file tax returns with tax ID numbers. Is that something you personally support?
No, I was always concerned about the fact that folks that were here illegally having access to direct payments is something that did not want to open up. But if you're here legally and you were a citizen, I was supportive of giving, obviously, that relief too. And so that was always a contentious issue, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be in this package, and that will be for another day, and we'll see where that goes.
And this is a starting point, Pelosi and Schumer are saying? You're $908 billion. That's what I gathered.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're at the point, though, the clock is ticking, and we're coming to the finish line. And so I think, we're relatively in the zone, and I don't think there's much negotiation beyond this, maybe some fine-tuning of the package, but no significant negotiations, plus or minus.
So you don't see them adding anything substantial? The leadership trying to put more things in there?
I don't see that. Given the nature of how long it took us to get to this position in a bipartisan way, and what it took to get folks to move from the right to the left and from the left to the right, I just don't see any substantial movement. Maybe some fine-tuning of it, but other than I think we're in the sweet spot. We're in the zone.
And one other thing about USPS, the election's over. The mail-in voting has pretty much ended, except we're going to have it in Georgia. Why was the funding still included in your package?
Yeah, because when you look at the post office, and we've dealt with this in prior packages, this really primarily addresses the post office security going through in that loan that's outstanding, and just addressing that and recognizing that's something that needs to be addressed. And because it had been normalized in prior negotiations and was related there, it was appropriate to carry forward and was part of the compromise.
Reporting on Capitol Hill, I'm Nicholas Balassi.